What is up, everybody? Back today for another Dokkan Battle video, and today, well, we're doing my big, I guess, I don't know what to say project, but the big sort of, the idea thing that I've made up in the past few days. It took me like, I think 7 hours to make all of this, just to come up with the ideas and just do some research on when celebrations and units come out, and then obviously create themes and different, predictions, and then make a little, not like full kit for each unit, but I just have like, for example, the first unit is a Bojack, and then I have just like something about his transformation or whatever the prediction is, basically. So like, I don't really, it's not like a full unit breakdown because that would take way too long, but it's basically the exact same copy of what we've got this year, but obviously just like the units are switched around, and it's not celebration details necessarily. I have one free-to-play unit I think listed, which is a free-to-play LR, which I have an idea of. But everything else is pretty much just a unit synopsis on what I think could be coming. So then, if you guys could if you guys want to, say for a certain unit that I think like all this stuff that I'm doing right here is actually very likely. This is not like I'm pulling stuff out of my ass, I guess. I'm actually like using data and like information we have on units in the timeline and what we still have to go over left in terms of just like the canon Dokkan. And because we didn't get a Heroes Dokkan Fest, so I've sort of made a prediction of sort, and I think it is very realistic. So if you guys actually can take, I guess, some of these units, I'll mention which ones I'm more confident with happening than others, just so you guys know, if that unit's definitely coming or not. Obviously, it's not 100%; it's just a prediction, but there's definitely some high likelihood in terms of unit, and some are basically confirmed as well. So also, if you guys do want to show some support on the channel, obviously I haven't been uploading that much if you check the channel, but I'm about to get off school for basically like 3 months, which is amazing because I can basically do daily uploads. Obviously I'm not going to do it every day, but maybe like 6 days a week. I think it's a very realistic thing that I'm probably going to be doing, just so you guys can actually sub to my channel and get the amount of content that you basically signed up for, even though it's free. It's not really signing up for, but you know what I mean. So without further ado, let's just get into it because it's going to take forever if we don't. This is also going to be in 2 parts, by the way, and also a 3rd part. I guess it's not really related, but I'm going to be doing a kit for the Bojack, which is coming out in December. So I think we're getting a tech transforming Bojack Dokkan Fest unit, and obviously it's been revealed recently. I was actually planning to do this video a few days ago before we got info really like the full HD scans for like the leaks on these units, but Zangyo was basically confirmed to be a unfeatured unit on the banner and not a free-to-play unit. So it's a bit weird that they do that because they never actually do that. They just show the main unit, and if it's a big free-to-play unit, they might show it, but they don't ever really show like side units on a banner. I don't think they've done that once. Maybe like really like long times ago, like in year 3 or 2 or something, but definitely haven't done that for, as far as I know of, for a few months, or not months, a few years. And then obviously with Bojack, with Smoke There's Fire, being a Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, I think it's going to be a base Gohan that goes Super Saiyan 2, because I don't think they're going to replace a summonable Gold Coin Shop LR with another summonable Gold Coin Shop LR with the same name. It just doesn't seem realistic to me, and I'm definitely sure that people would be sort of bummed out if they recently pulled Int LR Gohan and they basically instantly replaced him on your team, which I know can definitely be a bit sucky when they do the name replacements and you're a newer player that only has like a limited pool of units. So I think he's definitely going to be a base Gohan because we don't really have too many of those in like the youth section of the character. So I'm definitely saving up for Gohan next year, by the way. I'm saving like 1.5k stones for Gohan because he's just sick. I'm obviously not saving up that much, I'm only going to do like 600, but I'm obviously going to do a lot. But don't remember, when this guy does come out in Global or on JP really soon, it is a blue coin banner, so you do need to consider that because he'll be the double rates. So it'll be easier to pull, but not as worth it to go in on, if you know what I mean. So that is for December. Going into New Year, so New Year sort of lies around, I think, December 29th, going all the way to January 29th, is the length of the full banner, because Dual Dokkan Fest always are up for a month, and the discounts usually go for like a week of the month, so it kind of dies off after that first week. But it definitely is a really exciting time when you get Dual Dokkan Fest, because you get 4 new characters, 2 unfeatured units, well, not unfeatured, two banner units, you know what I mean? So when I say unfeatured, in like things like right here, it says L unfeatured, Zangia unfeatured, that doesn't mean like they're unfeatured on the banner. It means that they're eventually going to become unfeatured units, because side banner units always get put into the general unfeatured SSR pool after their original banner, so that's what I mean by that. So I actually didn't write down what the other units, the side units, going to be on this certain one, but as you can see, I think it's going to be a really hype celebration. I think we're getting more Gogeta, more fusions. That means how many Gogetas have we had like this year? Like basically, if you count the blue fusions, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and now this one, and then Vegetos, we had like Super Saiyan 4 Vegeto, like the Goku and Vegeta, the blue Vegeto, and like we've just gotten so many fusions this year, as well as Kefla and stuff. So I definitely think that trend's going to continue. Just the finish off Boo Saga, because I don't think we're going back to it for a while, at least a year. You'll see me actually on part 2 talk about the next time we go back to Boo Saga after this, because this does go for a full year. It's a full year of predictions. It's actually more than a year. I think it's a year and 2 months. It's basically till the first half of the 7th anniversary, which I know is a bit nuts, but I actually do think I have this pretty right in terms of what I think units are coming. Anyway, so I need to actually start talking about the units, so this video is going to be like 40 minutes long. I think we're getting an AGL Dokkan Fest for the first time since Bardock, which is just nuts. I think it's been that so long since we got another buffed AGL, or Super AGL particularly. And he's going to be a Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I know a lot of people thought we'll get a Pycon exchange unit, but I really don't see people summoning on a banner which is just like, new Dokkan Fest Pycon. I just don't see that happening. But I do think we're going to be getting a side banner unit of a Pycon, though, just because we don't really have a good one. Like, we have Super Pycon, I think his name is from Heroes, which is okay, and then like not any actual normal Pycons either. So we do need a new Pycon, so I definitely think we're going to get that. As well as the Goku, obviously, is the main unit, because I think this movie is probably the best animated DBZ there is. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely recommend seeing it if you're really into animation. The story isn't the best, but the scenes are just amazing for like old style animation. They're really good, as you can just see from this HD Gogeta right here. So I think it's going to be a Goku with some sick animations, and then he exchanges out into, like, because Vegeta actually doesn't really fight that much alone in this movie. It's mainly Goku does the fighting, and Vegeta comes in last second, and does the Portara, sort of like how Vegeta comes in the Boo Saga as well. Like, Goku's like fighting there first since he's been resurrected, and then Vegeta comes in last second, and they fuse into Vegeto. Same sort of thing here, he comes in last second, so I'm not really going to have Vegeta involved until they fuse. So I think there's definitely going to be the super side of the thing with a Pycon unfeatured, and then I think we're going to be getting a fat Janemba who goes into, you know, Super Janemba. Pretty standard stuff. I love this image, by the way, of just Janemba coming at you. It's like kind of scary, actually. I don't really know what they could do as a side banner unit for Janemba, because he's sort of one of those villains that rocks up by himself, sort of like Boo. But things with this guy, he only has 2 forms. It's not like Boo, how you can be like, oh yeah, it's a Boo, but then he has another one of his 18 forms in the banner. It's basically just these 2 forms, so I don't know what they could really do. I guess they could do like the evil humans that fight like Gotenks in this movie, or maybe they could do like another otherworld villain, like an Angel Barbady or something random, like that, I guess, like, or a King Yama maybe. Just someone from Otherworld, I definitely think is a likelihood, I guess, as a side banner unit. And as I say right here, it fills in some of the Boo Saga that we don't have sort of filled out, because this technically is in Boo Saga in terms of the time it takes place. So going on to February/January, so this is like Jan 29th to like mid-Feb is like the first part of the 6th anniversary. I almost said 5th anniversary. So I think that's going to be the time frame, and I think we're going to be getting a base Goku and base Vegeta, as you can see here. I will expand on that in a second here. So I think 1.5 is going to be a base Goku, and he goes turn 1, AGL, and I know it's another buffed AGL, just because AGL, if you look at it, it looks really good on the surface, but if you like go a little bit deeper, it kind of, like, older units are good, but they're a bit old. Like, a lot of them are easy A's, or they're just older, like Dokkan Fest LRs, obviously we have a few for it. But we haven't got a really big time unit in a while. By the time this comes out, like, New Year's comes out with this I can't even say his name, Goku that goes to Gogeta, that would have, pardon me, that would have been like I think 8 months since the last AGL unit, which is just like too long. So I think we need some buff to AGL. Starting here with the Goku. So I think it's going to be base. Turn 1 goes Spirit Bomb, because I think that animation needs to be in the game, because it's like the best and coolest looking thing in all of Super, when like the beam of light erects from like the crater in the Tournament of Power, and Goku is like sort of looking like possessed, and then he like stands up, and then like does the turnaround. That could definitely be something really cool. It could even be voiced, even though it's not an active, like similarly to Vegeta and Nappa, how their transformation isn't an active, but it's still voiced. I definitely think that could be cool. And maybe have like Beerus talking over it or something. And then he would go into UI sign, and then I think like via an active skill. And then I think we could also get a new 18, just like on the Banner as a side unit, because we don't have an amazing 18 from that arc. We have a few like ones, but they're not amazing. We have a Krillin. We could also get a TN, thinking about it now. That's definitely a possibility. I don't think they're going to say, they could also do a Gohan, but I don't know if they would make him a banning unit. I could see him being a summonable LR of some fashion. I don't think they would make him just into an everyday banning unit. So 18 just seems likely to me. That's just my opinion though. I think as the other like half of it, we're going to be getting a Vegeta. I know people used to say that Jiren and Goku is going to be the thing, but I never once ever said that we're going to be getting, or I think we're going to be getting Jiren and UI Goku for a big celebration, because I never looked at Jiren and went, yep, he's anniversary worthy. I never thought he's hype enough anniversary. Speaking of UI Goku and Jiren as well, before we continue, they're coming out in Legends in I believe 4 or 3 days by the time I'm recording this. So I'm definitely going to be doing summons on that on the channel, and I think I'll have around 17k summons, so that's like 26 multis and like 25 tickets or something. So that's going to be a ton of summons. Hopefully we do get lucky and get UI if he's an LF or not. So definitely stay tuned. Then I feel like Legends content, or even just a big fan of UI Goku, which I think everyone is. So even if you don't like Legends, stay tuned for a bunch of summons. If you're not familiar with how much that is, basically just think of it as me having like, I don't know, close to like around 700, like 850 stones on Dokkan, and then I also get free tickets. Think of it like that if you're only familiar with Dokkan terms. But anyway, back to like the actual video at hand. I think the Vegeta is going to be int, and I sort of made it so they're int and AGL, but like reverse, because obviously original int UI Goku was int, and original blue, like evolution Vegeta, was AGL, so I sort of did a switcheroo. Since these, I think AGL and int are the worst super typings at this current moment. I don't think that's too. I think Fizz actually could be up for debate there, but SDR and Tech are really looking nice at the moment. So I want to get these guys up to that same standard as all the other typings. So that finished talking about. He's basically, they make the anniversary units and big time celebrations sort of mirrored from each other, so they make them similar but a little bit different. So he's based at turn 1's into blue, and then he goes active into Evolution Blue with a new unfeatured Super Saiyan 2 Cabba as like the side banner unit. I think it's very likely because we don't have too much Super Saiyan 2 Cabba representation in Dokkan, and the one we have is pretty fodder. So next up we have a free-to-play EZA like we had SDR Goku Black for 5-year. I think we're getting a Universe 7, so like the gang similar to like the Casserole card, Casserole and Pride Troopers, sort of like that, but it would be like, I don't know, Goku and Vegeta in Universe 7, or just Universe 7, and they would come out with an EZA, and I think this would be really sick. For the 18k, they could do like the Frieza, Gohan, Goku, Vegeta, and 17 like blast they do against any Lars, like the rainbow like beam. I think that looks sick. And for their 12k, they could just like make one up on the spot of them doing like all these punches or whatever. But I definitely think they could mix and mash a bunch of cool attacks from the show into this guy. And obviously a big buff for the representatives of Universe 7 team, which I feel like would be the main point of the celebration, because that's not the best category in the game. So there's just some really good units on there, but it's not a super cohesive team in terms of support and stuff like that. So onto the February portion of celebration, or part 2. I think we're going to be getting obviously a top legendary summon. We get it every year, and this one is going to be 17 and Topo, which at first glance doesn't seem hype at all. It's like for an anniversary, you're going to put Android 17 by himself and just a topo. I definitely think that 17 is going to be the main draw of the banner, just because of what he comes with. So obviously, if you read this, top legendary summon, top edition, winky face. But I think it's going to be a Fizz topo. And just like how I mirrored Goku and Vegeta's typings for their original cards, 17, the original one from like this arc, is Fizz, like the Dokkan Best one, and the topo that is Easy A, like the God topo, he is SDR, so I swapped their typings again. And the topo is physical, and he's just the transforming unit. I don't know if it's via an active, but he just transforms in the God topo just so they don't share the same name as previous God topo, like the Easy A one, who's way too good to be replaced at the moment. And we'd only have him for a little bit before he got his basically replaced, because he's really, really good, and I think he'll be he's basically a great partner for the Jiren on the Universe 11 team. I don't want I don't want the game to get rid of him that quickly as like a mainstay on that team. I think that he'll have some good animations, but this guy's going to be the most hype one. I think it's going to be a 17, and that they are going to have a joint super, which hasn't been used too often. But I feel like this is the time to bring it back in a big way. If you have a Goku or an Angel Frieza, or just maybe a Frieza, they do like the attack against Jiren. And even though we do have Li, Goku, and Frieza, the animations do look pretty good. But up to today's standards, there's a bit below average, and I want to just bring that up to full HD quality. And then I think you could also have an active, like a full heal with the Dragon Balls, because everybody kind of forgets this moment that 17 did win the Tournament of Power and he did use the Dragon Balls. I feel like it's definitely worthy of a card or like a moment in an animation. Oh, sorry about that. Dog's barking in the background, but I think that's what I think is going to happen for part 2. It obviously could be different, but I really do think that we should get the Dragon Balls to finish off, the like full tournament that's based around the Dragon Balls. It makes sense. Moving on, and we are back. Sorry about that interruption here, but we are obviously talking about a cell right now, a second form cell. We already do have a second force summonable cell in the game via the Extreme Tech 50% support unit, but obviously not many people summon on those banners. And I didn't obviously want to make him tech as well, because you only really run that cell on a monotyping, maybe. Like, I don't really see people run that cell any other place, because he's not the best 50% support like unit, and he would mainly be utilized for like those extreme tech only teams, just for these leader skill and stuff such as that. So I don't really see him on a mainstay on something like artificial life forms or something like that, and as well as androids. But this guy, I feel like, would be that mainstay Dokkan Fest unit, because even though androids are good, the androids are missing like that damage unit. They have like good support, they have pretty good defense, but I feel like damage is what they're lacking in a little bit. And I feel like this guy could be a really good damage dealer. A second form cell who goes in a perfect form, and I just love this. I just had to talk about these shots right here from the Broly movie, where it like shows them like all the enemies, and they'd have it in like the Shintani style, whatever it's called. It just looks really cool, and this will also tie into stuff I'm about to talk about in a second, including Saiyan Day and some other stuff after that, because we still need a lot of support for the Cell Saga team. It is not the best in terms of cohesion and support, and I definitely think it needs some more buffing in terms of some of the types that are a bit lacking. And I think physical is one of those main types that aren't the best on that team, so a physical cell would fit perfectly also with the LR androids, who are also extreme physical, as well as the LR cell and cell juniors. Wait, this might be a little noise in a second. I'm just adjusting my microphone, sorry about that. And I think he'll come with an Android 20 unfeatured unit, or a Dr. Giro, as he's known as well. Just obviously for more buff to the Android Cell Saga and Android team, he could be more of a supporting role, or maybe a defensive role in terms of the unit. And I think we just don't have too many Android 20s, so just to add that so he's available in some fashion in the game as a runnable unit would be good. For March, or Saiyan Day, is obviously a joint celebration with Gomu and JP, and one of the more hype units that they can release in terms of traditional Saiyans. What I mean by that is like they're like what a Saiyan's supposed to be. So when I think of the units that they would release for Saiyan Day, it is old Saiyans from like the time like of when the planet was still existing. So stuff like Paragus, King Vegeta, or just like young Vegeta. And then I was thinking Broly and like just Vegeta as in general. And Bardock. I don't really see Goku as a Saiyan, traditional Saiyan for Saiyan Day. I see him more of a Earthling with Saiyan powers, because he doesn't really fit into like their culture or stuff at all, and doesn't really know anything about it too well, and sort of disregards that in just general as like his heritage. He just thinks of himself as an Earthling. So I don't think they'll do Goku. But Broly is obviously really hype. Everybody loves Broly, even though everybody hates the character of Broly, but everybody loves like the hell out of a Seminole Broly. So the Broly himself would be a base Broly, because we actually don't have a really good base Broly card who would anger power up into the like legendary form. I think this would be his attack right here. He like grabs and like Goku by the head and like punches him in the stomach. And I think it would sell really well. And then with a new DBZ Paragus unit, because we actually don't have a great standalone Paragus, the only really one that we do have is like the SSR for the Paragus and Broly unit. He's pretty usable, but in terms of just like a TUR Paragus, we don't really have one. So just to fill out that role, especially a DBZ Paragus as well, we only have an SR for him. So to get a full-on, TUR that's actually runnable would be really good. Maybe he could also be a pure Saiyans later as well, maybe, or the Vegeta from 6th year could also be a pure Saiyans, I don't know. But I feel like we are getting pure Saiyans in some fashion in terms of the leader this year, or next year, but this year 6. Following the Android sort of theme with Cell, and Broly movie actually does take place in the Cell Saga before the Cell game starts, so that technically is Cell Saga if you're thinking about it. Trunks also obviously fits in with the Cell Saga. This is the Trunks from his fight against Mecha Frieza. We don't really have an amazing animation from that, and I really think it deserves one because he does so many cool attacks in that like short thing, and he obviously looks sick. What he saw when he appears for the first time is like, this is so cool. This guy's like the coolest person ever. Even though I don't really like Trunks in Super, definitely like Trunks in Dragon Ball Z. And I definitely think that he could bring in a new unfeatured like Android 19, even though you really couldn't run them on like. I really think this guy could be like a secondary Android / Cell Saga team, because he's more focused on the Android portion of this Cell Saga more than like the Cell part of the Cell Saga. So I feel like he could like definitely be a new leader for that, and then come along with an Android 19 who is like an extreme support unit for the Cell Saga, sort of like how we have the TN and the Buu, who are like extreme and super supporters for like the Buu Saga and things such as that. I mean the Dabura and the Gohan, sorry, that are super and extreme supporters for Buu Saga. He could sort of fulfill a similar role, being like a super support type unit, with like the Android 19 on the banner being like a extreme support type unit, because we also don't have a good Android 19 in the game either. So for April, I think we're going to be getting a Final Flash Vegeta finally, ironically, because we just don't have one, and his animation is amazing. When it's probably one of the coolest moments in Dragon Ball Z, especially for Vegeta. Here's a multitude of cool moments obviously, but this is like his big moment in the Cell Saga. I think this is his biggest moment in the Cell Saga, or maybe you could argue it's when he shoots the Ki Blast in the Cell's face to distract for Gohan. But this is definitely up there as well with his Final Flash. I always forget who he does it. I think it's Perfect Cell, but it obviously coincides really well with Trunks because it's Vegeta's family as well as Cell Saga. It makes sense. Moving on to Golden Week. We are getting, well, finally, every Golden Week, everyone always says the same thing. For Golden Week, we're getting Golden Frieza, and I think for this Golden Week, we're actually getting Golden Frieza, and it's going to be a Final Form Frieza. Even though we just got a Dokkan Fest Angel Final Form Frieza, we're getting another one, and I think he will be, obviously he's not going to be Angel though, so you can run them together, and he's just going to go to Golden Frieza. I don't know if it's going to be instantly or whenever. And he'll come with a Shisami, or maybe a Sorbet, or maybe I forgot what's the dude who is taken over by Ginny. Like I think it starts with a T, like, the guy I'm talking about. We could get one of those, or maybe just like new Frieza Force cards, sort of like how we have like Salza, add in like the Salza in like what is it, Cooler's Army or something, where you get a card similar to that. And then for the Super Class, and he'll be Tech, as it says right there. And then for SDR, for Super, we should be getting, I think, a SDR exchange unit of a Vegeta to a Goku, with an unfeatured Tracksuit Gohan, even though everybody doesn't really like Tracksuit Gohan. We do need one in the game that's pretty okay, and maybe we could have a different name from actual Gohans, I don't know. So it starts off as a Vegeta and goes to Goku. So it's going to be a Vegeta from his like fight, and then it will change to the Goku when he like finishes Freezer off when he's about to destroy the Earth. I know people would rather a Goku to Vegeta, but the only reason that I'm not doing that is because we have something upcoming in this little prediction thing that would be the same name as Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku. We'll touch on that in a second though. So on to May and June. I think we're getting a Dokkan Fest hit finally, but hopefully this one will actually be good, because all of them like not that great, and the tech one does have a good animation, but I feel like we definitely need like one like a proper like time skip, like really cool looking one, maybe an active skill. I think would be really cool, and we do need one, and I feel like because all the other hits in the game are really bad, and we do need a good one, and maybe it could come with a Champa or a not Bagamo, a Batamo, or a Cabo, or just like one of the Universe 6 people, or not Novatos, but one of the people on like the Universe 6 side of like the Universe 6 or 7 tournament, just because we don't really have some like amazing units from Universe 6 besides the Saiyan girls. Mainly those are the only good units on that team, so definitely trying to mix that up a bit with some other characters from Universe 6 is necessary, I think. So maybe we could get like a Champa and get a Botamo separate card and a Megetta separate card from like a story event or something. On to June for just the standalone Gold Coin LR. This is what I was talking about before. A LR Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku, who does use the Kaioken with the active skill and like powers up to Kaioken form at some point, and then like it changes his like attacks and stuff. Basically like a transformation, but it's just like Kaioken. And if it's their active skill, so then he does like the Kaioken, and it's like sick. And it also will relate to another celebration that I'm soon to mention in terms of the Kaioken, which we'll talk about next part, but not, you have to stay tuned for that, I guess, and subscribe. But moving on to the last thing we're going to talk about for like this video, or no, I guess the second last thing actually, is the Tanabata celebration. Obviously one of the biggest celebrations in the year. We get a Dokkan Fest LR, and this is a unique take on an exchange unit. So instead of being like all the other exchange units where it's one unit and then they change to another unit, this unit is both of the units at the same time. I know it's a bit confusing, but they're not attacking at the same time either. So it's when you use the 12 key, Vegeta is like the fighter, and it's like when he fights Rose, and then when you use the 18 key, it's Trunks as the fighter. So like they switch out depending on what key you get, and they could probably both have Mega Colossal damage modifier, or just Colossal, just so then it's not about like Trunks does more damage or something. It's like about who do you want to have as like your fighter or something. And I think that's like a really cool idea, just to mix it up to fit two cards that maybe wouldn't sell amazingly on their own to something that would sell like amazingly well, especially because like I feel like Trunks is almost to the top hype tier, but not really. And I think the same thing with Vegeta. So putting them together, and then also having them do a joint attack via, I don't know, a joint super, or maybe just from an active skill or something, but it's the father-son Gallic Gun, and then it could come with like a Yajirobe future card, because we actually don't have that card in the game. I think that would be really, really cool. And obviously when there's a Trunks, there's going to be a Zamasu, and finally, this guy's also AGL like the other Dokkan Fest Zamasu. It's going to be an LR Fuse Zamasu or Merge Zamasu, and I think it's going to be a Fuse Zamasu who then goes into Merged. Then the reason I'm making him transforming is because I think that they're very different characters, and it wouldn't really make sense to have them in the same card. The only reason I say that is even though they look basically identical, one of them's just a bit bigger and he has like goo all over his left side, like melty skin or whatever. I think they're very different because obviously this sort of Zamasu that's like in the circle here, he's really calm, and he sort of like allows people to come at him, and he like with ease sort of like shoots beams and stuff and keeps away and fights really defensively. And by this sort of corrupted Zamasu, sort of like, oh yeah, I'm about to beat your ass, and he just comes in and like does like billions amount of damage and just like tries and doesn't care about getting touched, while this guy thinks he's all high and mighty and like he can't be touched by mortals and stuff. Like they're very different in terms of personality, and that's why I feel like they should separate them into different cards, because different personality means different stats and different things such as that, including like their attacks and whatever. So maybe this guy raises defense, this guy raises attack. One guy has more defense, one guy has more attack. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And that is it for this video. We do have a bunch more cards here though to talk about, and this stuff I think can actually come to fruition. So just like a quick scroll back through all these cards. These cards are probably coming next year, well, a few of them at least. I'm not so sure about the Universe 7 card. Maybe not the Trunks or Vegeta, but I'm pretty confident that all the other cards are coming next year in some fashion. But anyway, if you guys did enjoy, leave a like button, subscribe obviously, and stay tuned for the next video, and catch you guys in the next one. Peace.